Welcome everyone to lesson number 1, what is audit analytics? Let's start with a big picture. At its core, audit analytics is about generating risk insights that help strengthen both the audit reporting and decision making. Traditionally, audits rely a lot on interviews, walkthroughs, and sample testing. Those are still important, but they only give us part of the story. Audit analytics lets us use data to see risks more clearly, more objectively, and more proactively. So, what do we actually mean by audit analytics? Audit analytics is the systematic use of data analysis techniques and tools in an audit context. And the keyword here is systematic. This isn't one-off or ad hoc analysis done out of curiosity. It's structured, repeatable, and designed specifically to support audit objectives. The goal isn't to produce interesting charts. It's to produce stronger assurance and more defensible audit conclusions. Let's look at the benefits. One of the biggest benefits of audit analytics is its ability to identify risk indicators. This means looking for things like anomalies, trends, outliers, and patterns in the data, signals that might point to control breakdowns, emerging risks, or unusual behavior. These are often things you simply can't see through interviews or small samples. Analytics help us shift from asking, what do we think the risk is, to what is the data actually telling us. And importantly, it allows us to focus our audit efforts where the risk is highest, instead of spreading our efforts evenly across everything. This enables data-driven, risk-based auditing approach more effectively and objectively to determine the focus and scope for the audit. Audit analytics also plays a big role in validating controls, both for design effectiveness and operating effectiveness. For design effectiveness, we usually ask the question, is the control capable of preventing or detecting the risk? For operating effectiveness, is that control actually working consistently in practice? By using data, we're able to test controls with much stronger evidence. We're no longer relying only on narratives or walkthroughs. We can actually see how controls behave across real transactions over time. Another major advantage of audit analytics is the ability to enable 100% testing and automation. Instead of testing a small sample, we can often test the entire population, depending on the data and the risk scenario. That's a huge shift. This improves audit quality in three key ways. First, efficiency by reducing manual testing. Second, effectiveness through broader coverage. And third, accuracy by reducing human error and improving consistency. This is where audit analytics really delivers practical, tangible value. So the key takeaway from lesson 1 is that audit analytics isn't just about tools or technology. It's about using data in a structured way to identify risk indicators, validate control effectiveness, expand audit coverage through automation. When done well, this leads to stronger reporting and better informed decisions. Welcome everyone to lesson 2 on audit analytics phases. Today, we are going to learn about the step-by-step process auditors use when working with data. Think of it like following a recipe in a kitchen. Each step matters and has to be done in the right order to get a good result. By the end of this session, you will understand why data analysis in auditing is not just about running numbers, it is a structured process that anyone can learn. For our agenda, we will start with a quick overview of what audit analytics is all about, then walk through each of the four main phases step by step, and wrap up with a summary. Let me give you a simple example we will follow throughout. Imagine you work at a company and you want to check whether employees are submitting fake expense reports. That is our audit objective, and we will use this example to explain its phase. Before we dive into the phases, let us set the stage. Every audit analytics project starts with four key questions. First, define your audit objective. What exactly are you trying to find? In our expense report example, we want to detect fraudulent or suspicious claims. Second, identify relevant risks. What could go wrong? For example, employees might submit duplicate receipts or claim personal expenses as business ones. Third, formulate risk scenarios. How would fraud actually show up in the data? Maybe we would see the same amount claimed multiple times or expenses submitted on weekends when no one is working. And lastly, assess feasibility. Do we even have the data and tools to check this? Can we get the expense records? Is it in a format we can work with? This step saves you from starting a project you cannot finish. Now, here is the big picture. Audit analytics follows four phases, and they always go in this order: sourcing data, preparing data, analyzing data, and validating results. Think of it like cooking a meal. Sourcing is going grocery shopping, getting all your ingredients. Preparing is washing, chopping, and measuring everything. Analyzing is the actual cooking, and validating is tasting the dish before you serve it to others to make sure it is right. Each phase builds on the one before it. If you skip a step or do it poorly, your final result will not be reliable. Let us now look at each phase in detail. The first phase is sourcing data. This is where you figure out what data you need and how to get it. Going back to our expense report example, we need the expense claim records, employee details, receipt images, and maybe the company policy on what expenses are allowed. There are four things to consider here. First is the required data. What specific information you need. For our example, we need dates, amounts, categories, employee names, and approval status. Next are the technical requirements. What format is the data in? Is it in a spreadsheet, a database, or a paper file? You need to know this upfront. Then, we also need to know the access method. How do you actually get the data? Do you download it from a system, ask someone to extract and email it to you, or connect directly to the database? And lastly, and importantly, is to validate the data. Once you receive it, do a quick check. Does it look complete? Are there obvious gaps like missing months? This is like checking your grocery bags before leaving the store to make sure nothing is missing. Phase 2 is preparing data. This is where you clean and shape your raw data so it is ready for analysis. Think of it like prepping ingredients before cooking. You wash, chop, and measure everything so the actual cooking goes smoothly. Using our expense report example, here is what each step looks like. One example of data prep is removing white spaces. Excess spaces in names or categories can cause mismatches. For example, trouble and trouble would be treated as different categories if we do not trim or remove the spaces on the first record. Another example is dealing with nulls. Some records might have missing values like an expense with no category or no date. You need to decide whether to fill in defaults, plug them, or exclude them. Another is converting data types. Dates might be stored as text or amounts might include currency symbols. You need everything in the right format so your formulas in logic will work correctly. Another example is normalizing data. Different departments might record categories differently. One writes transport while another writes travel. You need to standardize this so they are consistent. So for this particular example, we need to change transport to travel. As part of the data prep, you may also need to create new fields. You might calculate new columns like the number of days between submission and approval or plug weekend submission as a new field. Another techniques are removing duplicates, joining data, merging data, extracting data, or filtering data. These final steps help you combine data from multiple sources, pull out only what is relevant, and remove any repeated records. For example, you might join the expense claims with the employee database to add department information, then filter to only look at claims from the last 12 months for certain departments. The key message here is garbage in, garbage out. If you do not prepare your data properly, your analysis results will be unreliable no matter how good your logic is. The next phase is analyzing data. This is where the exciting part happens. You actually run your test to find what you are looking for. For analyzing data, there are two key steps involved here. First is building logics or workflows, which means designing the rules or steps your analysis will follow. In our expense report example, we might create rules like flagging any expense over $500 that was not pre-approved, or flag any employee who submitted more than 10 claims in a single week, or find duplicate amounts submitted on the same day. The second step is executing the analysis, which means actually running those rules against the data. This could be done in a spreadsheet like Excel with formulas, or in specialized software such as Power BI, Tableau, ACL, SQL, or Python. The key takeaway here is that analysis is only as good as the logic you build. If your rules are too broad, you get too many results and waste time checking things that are fine. If your rules are too narrow, you might miss real issues. It takes practice to get the balance right. The next phase is validating results. And this step is crucial. Just because your analysis flags something does not mean it is actually a problem. For reviewing the results, you may need to check for false positive or false negatives. A false positive is when your analysis flags something as suspicious, but it is actually fine. For example, an employee submitted a $600 expense that was flagged, but it turns out it was a pre-approved team dinner. A false negative is when something problematic slips through undetected. You may also need to check the exception with the process owners. This means going to the people who actually manage the process and asking them to confirm whether the flag items are genuine issues. In our example, you would ask the finance team or the employee's manager. And depending on the results of the review and validation process, you may need to refine your logics. Based on what you've learned, you may need to adjust your rules and run the analysis again. Maybe you add a new rule or relax one that was too strict. This is like proofreading an essay before submitting it. You never want to present findings that turn out to be wrong. It damages your credibility. Let's wrap up. Understanding these four phases, sourcing, preparing, analyzing, and validating, matters because they form the backbone of any reliable data analysis in auditing. If you skip or rush any phase, your results will not be trustworthy. Imagine if we sourced incomplete expense data, did not clean it properly, ran our analysis on messy data, and then did not validate our findings. We could end up accusing an innocent employee or missing actual fraud. This phase helps ensure the outputs are accurate, trustworthy, and useful. Whether you are checking expense reports, reviewing payroll, or any other audit task, the key message is good analysis is a process, not a single step. Thank you for all your attention today. Remember, audit analytics is a step-by-step journey. Source your data, prepare it carefully, analyze it with clear logic, and always validate your results before drawing conclusion.